Welcome to Short Takes from Scriptures. In this episode, we will cover Luke chapter 2, verses 22 through 52. Before we dig into the text, please pause the lesson here and read the text from your own Bible. Then return to the study. Leviticus chapter 12 details a woman's purification after childbirth. If she gave birth to a boy, the initial waiting period was 7 days. The boy was then circumcised on the 8th day. After a second waiting period of 33 days, she would come to the tabernacle to offer a purification offering and a burnt offering. If she gave birth to a girl, the initial waiting period was 14 days, and the second waiting period was 66 days. The dedication of the firstborn son was also required by Moses' law from Exodus chapters 12 and 13, in remembrance of the Lord bringing Israel out of Egypt. The woman's sacrifice was to offer a yearling lamb and a dove or pigeon. If poor, she could offer 2 doves or pigeons. Mary's offering indicated that she and Joseph were poor. Consolation or comfort of Israel was the hope that God would come to rescue and comfort his people. The expression connects the wording of the messianic prophecies in Isaiah chapters 40, 49, 51, 57, and 61. The Lord's Christ is the comfort of Israel. The Spirit led Simeon to the temple at the time the child Jesus was brought into the temple. Simeon knows the promises made to him have been kept. In his arms he sees the salvation from the Lord. All people will see it, both Jews and Gentiles. Christ is a light for revelation to the Gentiles and glory to Israel. Many will reject Jesus and fall. Many will accept Jesus and be raised. The Christ will be opposed, rejected, hated, and crucified. Mary will experience personal grief watching the rejection and the agony of the crucifixion. The thoughts of many who claim to worship God will be shown by their actions toward the Christ. Anna, a prophetess, descended from the tribe of Asher, who was the 8th son of Jacob, born to Leah's maid, Zilpah. She was advanced in age, a widow, and apparently had living quarters on the temple grounds. She, like Simeon, spoke of the redemption through Christ. Mary and Joseph did everything according to the law of the Lord, then returned home to Nazareth of Galilee. The child Jesus grew up in Nazareth. Mary and Joseph went every year to Jerusalem to observe the feast of the Passover. From Deuteronomy 16:1, the Passover was observed in the first month of Abib, which corresponds to our period of March and April, as established by God in remembrance of his delivering Israel out of Egypt. Leviticus 23:5-6 states, "In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at twilight, is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the festival of unleavened bread to the Lord. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread." Jesus stayed behind, but not out of neglect by Joseph and Mary. They thought he was with others in the group. The group was most likely a large caravan returning home after the feast. They had traveled a day from Jerusalem, then a day back, and a day searching for Jesus to account for the 3 days. Jesus showed respect to the teachers as he listened to them and asked them questions and gave answers from his wisdom, which amazed them. In their eyes, he was only a boy. His parents were astonished that they had found him sitting among the teachers in the temple. Mary and Joseph were, like any loving parent, in distress that their child was missing. Here, Jesus makes a distinction between his earthly father and his heavenly Father. Jesus had a clear conscientiousness of his mission and identity. Jesus, though God, was submissive to his parents and returned to Nazareth. Again, this was an event which Mary treasured in his heart. Jesus did not cease being God in order to become man. He took on a human nature. Therefore, Christ was subject to the normal processes of human growth, intellectual learning, spiritual maturity, and social engagement. Our next episode will cover Luke chapter 3, verses 1 through 22. The primary text for this series is the English Standard Version, with permission granted by Crossway for the use of their copyright text. For questions or comments, please email me at shorttakesfromscriptures@gmail.com, and remember to include the periods between each word. May we glorify God by fully submitting to his will as revealed through his written word.